Hello, this will be the continuation of the first video I've posted on this truck, and I did the intake spacer. So this is just going to be a walkthrough of the work I've done on this truck, this 97 Chevy right here. I just wanted to do a continuation. I still need more work on it, but I'll show you what I've done to the truck so far. It's a continuing project and probably will never end. Alright, well, since last time I shot this video, I've added this billet grill insert. I actually got them on eBay for 29 bucks. Pretty straight, simple, easy to do. You just cut out the old parts and then you just bolt these new ones on after you drill a couple holes, and they'll stay in. So see, they're pretty sturdy. They don't hardly move. But this was an automatic at one time, and I put a MV4500 in it. I did that in 4 days. Well, I've already got a lot of experience doing these kind of conversions before, but just never with the 88, 98 Chevy pickup. I dealt with a lot of old square body trucks, and from what they said online, you're supposed to do all this extra bullshit to these to get them to run, but basically all I did was cut a hole in the floor right there, and this was push button, so I just had to cut a hole right there and insert a manual shift lever, because the transmission came with a manual shift 241 in it. And I added a switch right here that activates the actuator in it, because it needs 2 plugs to do it. So then they say you got to do a computer tune on it to get the transmission to work right. And I was supposed to cut a wire in it one time, and I tried that and damn near started a wire fire on it, because there's a switch in here that's supposed to bypass the neutral safety switch inside the steering column. I can't quite show you where it's at, but it's up into here, and damn near started a dash fire because I cut a wire that they said to cut. And started getting all this wiring all heated up. Thank God everything turned out okay and no electrical problems, but I had to reconnect it so it started up and run. So what I did to get it start without a neutral safety switch is I bolted the old switch that goes to the transmission. Let's see, where can let me see if I can get a good view. Right here, right there, that goes to the 4L60E that goes in these, and I just bolted on there and lifted it in the neutral position to so I could start it up and run it and stuff. But yeah, so that's the underside of the transmission. And then for the 4-wheel drive, let's see if I can get these shots here. Kind of tough, but hard to fit a camera in here. Alright, you gotta do another angle. But for the 4-wheel drive, as you can see online, it's true. Just got to take the blue and the brown wire right here, and I just spliced that and ran it to that toggle switch I showed you underneath the dash right there. You know, I could get a pigtail to bolt to the sensor on the transfer case so it'll run automatically, but the nice part about doing this is I can manually do it, so I can have like 2-wheel low without the front end being in gear. So then I got a 3-inch body lift on it, which is pretty simple to do, but I did that years ago when I owned a truck. Then last year I put the 6-inch rough country lift in it, which wasn't bad for the price you pay for, and it's pretty strong. But one of the things I did, because I've been doing these kind of lifts for years, is these parts, these upper control arm brackets tend to shift around a lot. Well, I might have bolted it in place, but I also welded it. That way it don't ever move. And so far with the off-road trips I've done, it's held the alignment pretty good so far, which is pretty surprising. Alright, the reason why I went with the upper control arm drop bracket kit with this is because on the bottom here, right where this lower control, where it holds the tie rod ends, on the very end, you can't quite see it, but if you look online on Rough Country, the kit has a iron joint that holds this center strong in the middle there, so that takes the strain and stress off of the the control arm, the idler arm, pitman arm on this. And all it is, when I'm on 4-wheel drive, it just puts on the tie rod ends here, so I don't have to really worry about having to change idler arm, control arms hardly anymore. Yeah, and then I went and got these Nerf bars on here, but they're the only ones that bolt to the body frame. But I did this for a trade with somebody for some mechanic work, because that's what I tend to do at times. And the tires I got on here are 35-inch mud claws, but they kind of wore out. But I got like 35,000 miles on them at the time of this filming, which isn't bad. But the only complaint I got about Rough Country though is their shocks are a little bit on the stiff side. So later on this summer, when I start my regular job, I'm going to order myself a set of Bilsteins. Those are pretty nice riding shocks. And then I got a semi-float 14 bolt in the back. That's why I opted for this truck. And then when I put the lift in this, I put a Lock-Right locker in the back. It's great for off-road, but it's got shitty street manners. The son of a bitch really makes the truck herk and jerk a lot when I'm driving around sharp corners and stuff. And going down a highway, it makes it handle funny when I let off the gas and give it gas, going down sharp roads like you know, steep mountainous roads and stuff. But at least it's somewhat predictable, so it isn't too bad. And then for an exhaust, I got a true dual exhaust done on this with a Flowmaster 40 series that actually came off my other truck. But I like the way they sound. Well, this is the interior of the truck. You know, it came with this really nice bucket seat combo. I just put these seat covers on because it keeps them from getting dirty. They're not too bad. They're the neoprene ones, cheap at O'Reilly's for like 20 bucks or so. But yeah, my dash, this truck, the body itself has over 300,000 miles on it, but the motor's only got like 170,000. And who knows what the MV4500 has in it, but the transmission just turned 100,000 miles when it gave out, when I put the MV4500 in it. Yeah, so there's the interior of the truck. I take pretty good care of it. Put a strip of tin across the top. I didn't know if people call that the brow, but I don't care. It keeps the sun out of my eyes. Okay, well, on to the motor work I've done to this. The factory alternators on these suck ass really bad. I got a stereo system in it, and I got, you know, 4 LED lights, which don't really change the power on it a whole lot. But right here, I got this alternator, O'Reilly's for 2004 Chevy. It's a factory 130 amp alternator, and I noticed that since I put it on here, I don't watch my gauge jump up and down a whole lot when I'm driving down the highway playing the stereo really loud, or when I got the lights on and all the accessories running on this truck, which is a pretty good deal. And then just for air filter, I've actually had this on here for 10 years, but I just got one of these cheap ass Spectres on it, and I just wash it and clean it with a K&N air filter cleaner kit, which isn't bad. And that's what I was told to do online, because if you ever go into part stores, you notice that they don't ever sell cleaner kits for these, which is kind of stupid, but the K&N one works just fine. And then last video I showed you, I got a intake spacer on it, the 1-inch one by, what the hell's that company called? I'll think about the company in a second here, but yeah, the 1-inch spacer actually made a pretty big difference on how the motor runs. And then years ago, because I had problems with the EGR valve and I was too cheap, I just bought an EGR delete kit off of eBay for 50 bucks. And it covers that plate right there, which is pretty good. Then on the side of the intake, but there's too much crap right here to show you, there's a plug right at the tip of my finger here. Oh shit, can't even do the fucking finger on this. Stupid, but too much crap on these motors. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got these Flowtech shorty headers, which is way better than the factory intake, exhaust manifolds, which is a pretty good deal. I mean, I did notice a big change of power with those. The motor runs a lot stronger than it did. You know, I only got 373 gears in this pig, but it helps power up the hills a little better than what it did before I put these on, and the intake spacer. And then I got a high output coil right there. I got on Summit for $39, a 60,000 milliamp one. Better than the factory one, but I got the factory one sitting right there as a backup, so in case that one ever goes out, I can just switch it over and plug it over to the factory one. So just a little safety thing. You never know what happens when you're up in the hills. But yeah, I'll do a quick startup of this for you. Alright, here we go to start it up. There's no neutral safety switch, so I don't have to push the clutch in, but just gotta make the shifters in neutral. Pretty simple. I actually got that shifter boot on eBay for 50 bucks from somebody that was selling one. They're pretty hard to find these days, so don't ever give up hope on finding one when you do a manual conversion like I've done. It's pretty easy. You just gotta do your research and find the right things on sale. So here we go, we're gonna start it up. I keep it pretty well tuned. I change oil on it on a regular basis, but yeah. So see, it runs pretty smooth. Not a bad deal. All I got left to do on this now is just do a computer tune, because as I mentioned earlier, I got the EGR I got to delete off of it. Got to turn this computer to a standalone system because it still thinks it's automatic, but the fucker does run, as you can tell. So don't ever believe everything the internet says. Just fucking do with what you gotta do. I mean, it obviously runs. Yeah. Pretty responsive throttle on this, so I got it, well, it's tuned right now. So I got this chrome roll bar off a guy on Facebook Marketplace, you know, for 150 bucks. I had to do some cutting and welding to get it to fit because it was like 6 inches taller than the roof of the truck. So I cut it down about an inch taller, and then I kind of had to lean a little more forward just so that way it kind of contours the line of the cab so it didn't look too funny when I bolted it in there. You know, so, you know, I did all the welding and stuff myself, as you can see. You know, like I said, you know, it's kind of shitty. It's the first time I touched a welder in 10 years, but fucker works. And when I get around to get some stuff to get rid of the rust on it, which I'll do another video on, when I get rid of the rust on this roll bar, I'll clean up the welds I put on it. So that's how it is. Yeah, Barely Legal is my one buddy's off-road race team, which is a pretty cool thing. They're competing at Mountain Havoc here pretty soon, which is pretty neat. And Big Snatch Off-Road, you know, they've actually done me pretty good with some of the things I've done for them, you know, so they're not a bad company to work for, so get a hold of them if you ever get a chance. Well, so there you have it, my 97 Chevy. I actually call it the Z because it's a Z71 and stuff, but just a name that kind of stuck to my head, and I always name my vehicles like my other mud truck you see in the previous videos. Name's Big Blue, and that's got from my buddy's girlfriend from years and years ago gave it truck that name. And it's been stuck with it ever since, you know. I thought it was kind of a dumb name, but then it grew on me after having that truck for 20 years. But yeah, so now you guys got to walk around in the Z, and I will shoot a video of me driving down the road with it and stuff when I have a little more time. But today's you know, nice spring weather, you know, even though it's not officially spring yet as far as I know, but I just want to kind of enjoy my day. So I just figured I'd give you guys a walk around in my truck and stuff, and as I continually add stuff and redo the paint job on this thing, I'll shoot more videos of that. So there you go.